So let us look at now, what are the key factors? We have looked at what are the changes. Now let us look at some of the key factors which will determine the success of your EB-5 application. The first factor is the source of fund. Friends, we saw earlier that the starting point of an EB-5 application is the source of fund. Now, what is source of fund? Now, source of fund means, the US government wants to know that whether you are using legitimate money to finance your investment. And you have to show how you got the money. And not only that, you need to provide documentary evidence in support thereof. To understand source of funds more in detail, we have made a video on this subject. I will request you to go and have a look at that video. We have the link to the video in the chat. Typically what happens is we have to look at the source of fund from the US point of view as well as Indian point of view. We have to keep in mind the Indian Act as well as the US Act. So most of the people feel that if you have a white money, if you have paid tax, source of fund is easy. It's not as simple as that. Believe me, you have to go into detail, you have to go into the entire trail, and you have to establish the link and give all the documentary evidence. And this process could take 1 month, 2 months. In some cases, we have taken even 6 months to ascertain the source of funds. It depends upon if you have multiple sources of funds, then it is going to take even longer. If you have more people who are financing, let's say if you are getting gifts from family members, then we'll have to go into the source of fund of each of these family members. So this is the first and the most important activity that you need to do. And your success of your initial EB-5 application, your I-526E application will be approved based on how well your source of fund is documented. If you have to prove that your source of fund is legitimate, and you need to present it in a manner that the US officials are able to understand it and approve your application. So source of funds, also another important component of source of fund is path of funds, which shows how the money is moving from one source to another till the time it is invested in the project. So this factor will get you into the US. But the other factor which will ensure that you continue to stay in the US, which will lead to a permanent green card, is job creation. Like we mentioned earlier, EB-5 is not simply an investment program, it is an investment plus job creation program. So you need to create minimum of 10 jobs for Americans. It's not easy creating and maintaining these 10 jobs. You have to pay salary to these employees irrespective of whether the business is profitable or not profitable. This is where the regional center projects have a big advantage. The regional centers do not have to create actual jobs. They just have to give, they have been given this leeway. Now, what is a regional center? A regional center is basically a government-approved entity which is formed in a particular region to promote economic activity and job creation in that region. The job of a regional center is to mobilize money from EB-5 investors who want to move to US but are not in a position to create the jobs themselves. So they pool the money together and they invest in projects, large projects. Those projects will be using the equity funds, they will be using loans from the banks, etc. And all this money will be deployed into the project, which will result into large number of job creations. Not only that, the regional centers do not actually have to create jobs. They have to create notional jobs by applying an economic model. They just need to prove that money has been spent on the project, and by applying an economic formula, they create notional jobs, which are in very large numbers. If you are investing in a regional center project, the jobs are more or less deemed to be created. You don't have to worry about job creation. As long as the money is spent in the project, the jobs are created. And that's the reason why we have seen that most of the investors, more than 90% of the investors invest in regional center projects. Now, to know more about the job creation, again, we have created a video on this subject because this is a critical component. So you can go to our YouTube channel. The link to the video is available in the chat.